Alrighty, good Sunday morning, Mid-Michigan. I'm First Alert meteorologist Matthew Mondro here, checking in with your First Alert forecast and talking all about the snow. So certainly let it snow here. If you're like me, you're definitely excited to see the first snowfall of the season. Now, our main takeaway with this forecast overall is the fact that still for most of us, this will be a fairly uneventful, or I'd rather say unimpactful snowfall. As you've seen this morning, roads and sidewalks have mainly just been wet. The snow has been sticking to everything other than the pavement, though. So if you're heading out the door a little bit later this morning, you might need to brush a little bit of snow off of the car, but roads have still been doing pretty well overall throughout this morning. And that's something that we've been seeing on our traffic map too, as we've been checking in on that throughout the morning as well, especially during weekend wake up just a couple of hours ago. Now for this morning with the snowfall, go ahead and take you to the radar here. Let's take a look at this. First Alert Pinpoint Doppler kind of break down what we're seeing here right now. So the snow that's still falling around Flint, up towards Otisville, and then extending into the central and eastern thumb. This is all system snow from this storm system that's been passing by mid-Michigan throughout the overnight and early this morning. Now the snow that you're seeing developing towards Mount Pleasant, Alma, and Midland already, that's actually some lake effect development. So we have a northeast wind that's coming right off of the Saginaw Bay. You can even see a couple of snow showers on the Saginaw Bay too. Essentially this lake effect that we have right now is just going to continue to develop for the rest of the morning, and really by this afternoon, that is going to be the main focus here of the forecast, is that lake effect. So that is going to bring some locally higher snow totals to some areas just downwind of the Saginaw Bay. And I do have that updated snowfall map to show you too. But we'll actually go ahead first and take a look at a couple of our live cameras across the area. A nice little tour across mid-Michigan on this Sunday morning. So there's CMU's campus right now. We're looking at Brooks Hall. Our camera is on top of Moore Hall on CMU's campus. So if you're familiar there, things are definitely looking a little bit snowy this morning. But notice how the sidewalks, those are still just wet, but the snow is sticking to the roofs and it's also sticking to the grass there on CMU's campus this morning. We'll also go ahead and take a look at I-75 in Birch Run. This is right near exit 136. That's what you're seeing there with the overpass. Pretty much same scenario there, where we do have snow sticking to the grass, pretty much everything other than the pavement, but you see there the off-ramp going on to Birch Run Road and then I-75 itself. That is still pretty quiet for us this morning too, just showing some of those wet conditions. And we can even move our camera around to a few other places across mid-Michigan. There's downtown Flint this morning, right across Saginaw Street. Also pretty much the same scenario there. And we'll go ahead and take a look at one more camera for us this morning too. That's I-75 at Miller Road. That is in Flint Township, right atop the Harley-Davidson there. So our vehicle say Harley-Davidson. So you can see there looking south on 75. So we're looking towards the bend that then takes you right around by Bishop Airport and the GM factory there too. You can see again, snow pretty much just sticking to the grass. Most of these roadways are just wet for us right now. But as far as our accumulations go, we do still expect more snow to be able to accumulate, especially right here in the Bay region late this afternoon and into the evening with the lake effect that picks up. Essentially what is going to happen here is we have that snow, just one somewhat stronger lake effect band that comes right in off the bay. And even though some of our air temps today are going to be able to hover near 35 or 36, the dynamics of that lake effect is actually able to cool the atmosphere. So it does have a cooling effect. And if some of that snow can fall heavy enough and quick enough for a longer period of time, then it actually would be able to win out that battle against ground temperatures across our area too. And I can actually show you those soil temperatures right now, and it's, I'll say, a little bit surprising at least how well some of the snow has stuck to the grass. But take a look at this here. These are soil temperature readings. This is from the National Weather Service website. Still reading about 45 degrees here in the Bay region, right near Freeland, 47 degrees, a little bit out towards Vassar, and even in the northern thumb, some of those soil temperatures are coming in to the mid to upper 40s. So the snowfalls had that effect, especially through the overnight, where temperatures were cooler through the overnight, that it was able to cool off just that very top layer of soil, pretty much just the grass. cold enough where the snow can stick to it, because these soil temps that you're seeing right here on your screen, these are actually, let me go back to that again. Those soil temps are actually about 2 to 3 inches below the surface. So still very much warm ground directly underneath the grass, but the grass is cooled off just enough that some of that snow is able to stick to it. We can go ahead and take a look at our weather graphics here too. So again, we'll go back to that camera there on CMU's campus. You can see there Mount Pleasant, decent snow falling as of right now, and the radar is definitely picking up on that too. You can see here how the system is starting to slide out of mid-Michigan. That snow is developing right through central Midland County and starting to head into Midland, and then that will be on the way towards Auburn and Freeland, and then towards Bay City and Saginaw especially too. But again, the lake effect really is going to be the main story here as we go throughout the remainder of the daytime, as the storm system to the south keeps moving off to the east a little bit more. So your first alert hour by hour here, this is about 10 o'clock this morning. You can kind of tell where the outline here, I'd say ignore some of this pink shading. Really, you can see the outline of the snow from that storm system extending into Ontario. And then this right here, of course, is that lake effect that's developing right now. We'll fast forward towards 2 o'clock this afternoon. So you see how the outline of our storm system just continues to go towards the east a little bit more. So by the early afternoon today, pretty much all of that snow should be right outside of mid-Michigan, but we still have the lake effect coming right in off the Saginaw Bay, and still even some light snow showers trying to fill in off to our west towards places in central Michigan, even a few of our northern areas too. That snow should be lighter than what would be falling, say, in Bay City or Freeland at that same time, even as we move towards 6 o'clock this afternoon. So now at this point, the sun is down, so we aren't even battling any sort of daytime heating either, even though we aren't expecting much daytime heating today with temps only up to about 35 or 36. But you still see here that lake effect somewhat persistent right off the Saginaw Bay. By the early evening, we have the snow starting to wind down a little bit up north, and then also into the southern thumb. And this sort of trend just continues as we go into the upcoming overnight too. We actually see our wind backing from the northeast to just the north as we go into tonight. So pretty much by late tonight and tomorrow morning, any of the snow showers that would be left would be pretty light, and they're mainly just in the central and northern thumb. So you can actually see here how the orientation of that lake effect band is different than it was earlier than the day. So I can play through this again, and you can kind of just see how that line coming off the base starts to pivot right into the thumb, and then by tomorrow morning, just a few sort of lake effect flurries that are remaining in the thumb as well. So of course the big question here is the snow totals map. We have made an update to this map this morning. So you can see this here. I actually still most of the map somewhat unchanged from what meteorologist Stone Schaefer had for you last night. Our biggest change has been that addition of the dark blue right near Bay City and Saginaw. And I will zoom in on that here to show you some more details on that. But first, for most of mid-Michigan, we're still expecting only around a trace to 2 inches of snow. That's anywhere in that light gray in the southern thumb, all throughout Owasso, Flint, and Lapeer, even towards Mount Pleasant and Alma, and then just about a trace to 1 inch into our northwestern areas. Some of us this morning have already verified into that range with the snow that fell during the overnight. And once the system snow leaves, there won't be too much more additional snow for those areas highlighted in gray. Now that lighter blue that you're seeing for places like Bad Axe and just in the north of Carroll and even down towards Chesaning, that's where some of that lake effect can start to reach in from the northeast with that wind right off the bay. But we'll go ahead and zoom in here a little bit closer, so that one spot in dark blue that we've highlighted for you. Now this right here in the forecast is where, quite frankly, we still actually have a little bit of uncertainty to it. Not so much whether or not we actually even end up seeing the lake effect, because we do feel pretty confident that we are going to see that lake effect. However, it's more so just some uncertainty on where exactly that band is going to land here in mid-Michigan. We do think it's going to be somewhere into that dark blue bubble though, but where we have the heaviest snow totals by tomorrow morning, that could be sort of a bullseye, could quite literally be just a couple of miles wide, where say you have one spot that's picked up 4, 5, or 6 inches of snow, but then just a few miles away from there, we still only have about 1 inch of snow. So I'll go ahead and bring that map back up here to show you this here. So anywhere within that dark blue shading is where we think we'll have those highest snow totals that come in around 2 to 6 inches. But again, that is highly variable. We need a couple of conditions for that to be able to work too. So not only do we need the lake effect to persist there for several hours this afternoon and evening, but we also do need higher snowfall rates. 1 inch per hour, even 2 inches per hour would definitely be more ideal for some of those totals to add up very quickly. But we also need the wind direction to be just right too. And that's sort of the nature of lake effect. Any small shift in the wind can really alter where exactly some of that heavier snow falls. But right now I would expect anywhere around the circle of Bay City to Saginaw, Munger, Reese, and then at least in the direction of Akron and Fairgrove. I think in those directions too, that is where we could see just a little bit more of that heavier snow or some of those higher totals ending up towards the end of this event. But I will say when we're looking into western Tuscola County, I think Fairgrove, between Fairgrove and Akron, for example, I think Fairgrove does actually have the slightly better chance of seeing the higher totals out of the comparison of the two. So still highly variable with this, and we need the higher snowfall rates to be able to overcome that warmer ground or warmer soil. So I was just showing you that a little bit ago. Some of those soil temperatures are still coming in into the mid to upper 40s even as of this morning, but higher snowfall rates can win out that battle with that warmer ground. So real quick, we will take a break here, just a 1-minute break, and we'll come back, talk a few more details on the forecast. I'll show you those traffic maps too, and then we'll also talk about the cold weather that we have on the way for tonight and to start off next week, because even though we have the snow today, and I know that is the big focus here in the forecast too, we do have some cold weather on the way, the coldest that we've seen since last winter, so I definitely want to highlight that in the forecast too. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that here right after this break. Alrighty, welcome back from that break. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the snow here and also the cold weather that we have on the way for us here in the forecast. And I actually want to show you this right off the bat here as we get started coming back from this break. So there's your first alert traffic map. I'll go ahead and zoom in on this a little bit more. This is actually where we are starting to see some travel delays or some slowdowns coming in at least. So this is right around M13. I-75 and US 10. So these are going to be around roads or crossroads like Beaver Road or 3 Mile or Mackinac Road, even M47 north out of Freeland. That is showing some slower travel for us this morning too. We can actually go ahead and take a look at that US 10 camera. So there is US 10, and it actually looks like, looking closely there, like some of that snow is starting to stick on the roadway too. I'll actually go ahead and take control of this camera. I am able to do that here from our live stream desk. Let's move this camera just a little bit and see. So this is also, again, live look at this here. We'll zoom that camera in just a little bit closer towards the off-ramp going on to Mackinac Road. Just have to let this camera focus a little bit more for us too, if we can get it to come into focus here. But it is looking like that snow is actually trying to stick onto the off-ramp there too. Okay, there we go. All right, take a look at that. So that is the off-ramp off of US 10 going on to Mackinac Road, so up towards those brand new roundabouts. And that right there is showing pretty much exactly what we're expecting with the lake effect band that'll be setting up, especially this afternoon and evening. So that lake effect already starting to get going here too. But the snow comes down quick enough that it is able to overcome the warmer ground and the relatively warmer pavement, that it actually can cool off that top layer. Even if it is just the top couple of inches of the pavement or the soil, it is falling quick enough that it is able to actually cool down the ground enough to allow that snow to stick. So that is where we are seeing that travel delay coming from right around US 10 this morning, and then also on southbound I-75. So I'll go ahead and take you back to that traffic map again. And also, too, notice up north, drive times are looking fine there. But there we are back into the Bay region, right where we have that lake effect really picking up right off the Saginaw Bay. That is starting to bring some travel troubles right to those areas in southern Bay County and that very northern end of Saginaw County where Freeland is as well. And we'll move the map south towards Flint and Genesee County. Certainly no concerns there right now with our drive times. Those are all looking good. And with air temps today that are going to hover right around 35 to 36, I would expect an area like Flint to really not experience too many travel issues as of right now, because the ground should be staying just warm enough where roads stay wet. But one issue that I do want to potentially highlight for tonight is that refreezing. We have temps falling down to about 21 degrees for tonight, so it is going to be pretty cold for us with those temperatures, and this is sort of the condition that we need. We need both untreated and damp roadways for a refreeze to happen, but it is certainly possible as we go into tonight. So I will urge some caution as you're traveling tomorrow morning on any bridges and overpasses especially too. And with us forecasting this lake effect snow coming in off the Saginaw Bay as we go into the late afternoon and the evening today, I think the Zilwaukee Bridge, for instance, especially given its elevation off the ground, could possibly have some slick areas tomorrow morning. That is, if it doesn't end up getting treated at any point through today. So just something to be cautious of for tomorrow morning. But I'll show you that here again. Even the wind chills for tomorrow morning, they'll easily be down into the teens. Even Tuesday morning, we should have wind chills in the teens as we start off. So it's definitely going to be cold as we start off this upcoming week. Our normal high temps for this time of year are about 49 to 50 degrees. So we are going to be falling anywhere about 10 to 15 degrees below what we would normally see for early to mid-November for those highs. So definitely a bit of a cold snap here in the forecast. And I'll show you that 7-day too, that we do have temps actually returning back to the 40s, pretty seasonable by the end of this week and the upcoming weekend. And that should actually be a pretty fair forecast by then too. So just pretty average conditions as we're heading towards the opening of firearm deer season. So actually for any of our deer hunters who might be watching this morning too, opening day, of course, this upcoming Saturday, that forecast right now is actually looking pretty quiet. Temps near freezing in the morning and then into the upper 40s during the afternoon. So at least for the sake of those of us hunting later on this upcoming weekend, hopefully that forecast does stay quiet for us. But in the meantime, though, again, early this week, it is going to be cold as we start off the week. Even for tomorrow, the high will only be 34. So tomorrow should be even marginally colder than today. And then we're back up to about 39 on Veterans Day on Tuesday. So if you are attending any events or any services for Veterans Day too, just make sure you are dressing warmly, especially if any of those events happen to be outside. But the lake effect should still continue a little bit for tomorrow, but the wind will veer towards the northwest even more during the daytime tomorrow. So while we've been talking about a northeast or even just a north wind for today and tonight, so that brings the lake effect focus on us right here in the Bay region and the Thumb. With more of a northwest wind tomorrow, that lake effect focus will start to be more for our northwestern areas, places like West Branch or Houghton Lake, kind of those usual lake effect belts into our northern counties. So that will be where the focus is for that lake effect for tomorrow. We'll go ahead and take you back to the radar here one more time. I do want to show you this before we end up signing off from this live stream, but you can see First Alert Pinpoint Doppler does have that snow falling this morning. The lake effect continues to develop off the Saginaw Bay, and we'll zoom in even closer to the Bay region too. And you can see right here that snow coming right in off the bay, pretty much right over Cuckolan Road and Beaver Road, I-75 over towards US 10 and Mackinac Road. That right there into Auburn as well. That is where we are seeing that heavy snow starting to bring some of those travel impacts. So drive safely if you do plan on heading through there anytime soon, because that snow has been falling fast enough to be able to overcome the warmer ground temps and the relatively warmer pavement as well. So it doesn't take too much work when the snow is falling heavily like this to be able to bring those temperatures down just a little bit more. So we'll be keeping an eye on this during the day today. Meteorologist Stone Schaefer will be in later on this afternoon and evening, so he'll be doing those usual evening newscasts for you too, and he'll continue to track how things are developing later on today, especially with that lake effect that should be going pretty good by the time he's in here later on. But we hope you drive safely if you have any travels for this Sunday. And we'd love to hear from you too. If you like the snow, if you don't like the snow, are you excited or are you not too excited for this? Me as a snowmobiler personally, it's just a sign of things to come here for the upcoming winter. But I know the snow isn't for everybody. But at least the good part about that is that with the snow mostly melting on the pavement outside of that spot in southern Bay County, really I wouldn't expect too many travel issues, at least on a widespread basis across our area for today, but definitely just urging some caution for tomorrow morning with some potential refreezing, especially on bridges and overpasses. But again, hope you have a safe and a warm Sunday, and we'll see you later on.